Hello again, this is Michael Wojcik with the City Council update for June 7th, 2010. Interesting, I'm home today. Figured this would be a good time to do it. I've got a little girl who's been ill, so I'm hoping that she's getting better. City Council meeting on Monday. We had the Committee of the Whole, we had the dinner, and we had the City Council meeting. There are three things that I'm going to talk about. First and foremost, I'm happy to announce that I had proposed that we would name the new pedestrian bridge going over Highway 14 in honor of Ariana McNamara, that young girl who was hit by a car and tragedy passed away a few years back, and I still remember that. It's always bothered me, and I approached the family and asked if they'd be interested in having the bridge named in honor of their daughter, celebration of her life, and they thought it was a good idea, and I brought it to the city, and the city also agreed with me. So I'm excited that that's going to be going forward, and we'll have a symbol of remembrance in the community. Two other topics, and I see the newspaper covered these items pretty well. Actually, it was three other. I had brought up that I felt that there was not enough competition in the broadband marketplace in Rochester, and our citizens were in fact getting gouged by the pricing that was currently in place. As it would turn out, the representative who came from Charter Communications to the Committee of the Whole meeting rather disagreed with me. He pointed out that you can get a minimal internet connection for a little over $20 a month with tax and fees, and he mentioned that going up to $27.99 a month, you could get the 8 meg package. Me being me, I don't trust a word that a lobbyist or a representative from a company who's trying to sell you something says. So I actually went out to Charter's website right now just to see what the story really was, if I could really get access for $27.99, and it appears on their website actually there is a temporary price of $29.99 if you're willing to bundle. Again, strings attached, strings attached, strings attached. It looked like from reading the details that you could maybe get a 12-month price at something over $40 a month for with taxes and fees included. Exactly what we're getting to. I said it once and I'm going to continue saying it. The citizens of Rochester are getting gouged because we don't have competition in that marketplace. I think it's really unfortunate. I think that there are some people who profess to want to buy locally, and I think that's really disappointing because you have a company like Charter Communications that essentially most of the money that they take from us with their overpriced rates leaves the community, and then they send a representative to our city council meeting, in this case a gentleman named Tucker Carlson, and I did in fact double check that that is his name, and no, it's not the guy with the bow tie. He came in, and of course the company line that I'm anti-business and don't take it out on the poor workers of Charter Communications, and I guess I use poor workers. That's kind of like a two ways of looking at that, as being sympathetic towards the workers, or the other, the fact that most of them are paid so poorly in the community that that's become another issue for the community. So we have a company that is essentially taking money out of the city of Rochester, and yet those who profess to be of the belief to buy local and leave your money in the economy are standing up right alongside this guy, aiding and abetting their effort to take money out of our community. I don't think it's fair to our citizens. I went through a number of the advantages of having broadband access for all of our citizens at an affordable rate. I think it has a lot to do with educational opportunities, income, job growth opportunities for all of our citizens. I think it's a basic service that used to be a luxury and now has become a necessity in the modern society. I remain committed to having a goal that every citizen of Rochester can get broadband access for less than $20 a month, and the technology is there. We might not have 100% coverage initially, but the technology is there. We wouldn't have to subsidize to be able to achieve this. But it's one of those things that if this is important to you, you need to talk to your council members, because I think at that Committee of the Whole saw exactly there are certainly some folks on the city council that are quite cozy with Mr. Carlson from Charter Communications. So I'm not a person that believes that I have to represent anyone but the best interests of the citizens, and I think This is a fight that's worth continuing. I think that broadband access is something that would make our community better, particularly at a fair rate, and I'm not going to give up the fight, but anything that you who are interested in this issue could do to perhaps push the issue, I very much would appreciate your support in that as well. Second issue to talk about, we had the discussion on the panhandling ordinance. What I would say is this. I brought this up at the meeting that constitutional activities, I don't like everything that's been deemed to be a constitutionally protected activity. I certainly don't believe that corporations are in fact people, but that's what the Supreme Court has determined that they are. And they've also determined that panhandling is a protected First Amendment right. Everything that's being proposed is ways of licensing or trying to get around the fact that this is a constitutional right and it's the Constitution of the United States and we can't violate that. Now, I think there are some things that I pressed the city to do more of, including cracking down at people that are unsafe at the intersections, and including a woman who lays in a lawn chair at the intersection of near Crossroads Shopping Center, and particularly at 2nd Street as well. I mean, that's just not, it's not a safe place to have them going out into traffic there. Something needs to be done about that, but that's against the law already. What this licensing does is it basically, it's an unenforceable ordinance that says you have to go down and get a license, and I like the fact that it would give them access to the services, make them aware of the services that we have, but the problem with that is that it does some unfortunate things too. One is it's going to create a digital record of them receiving this license, which could be viewed very negatively by potential future employers. That's going to follow them around probably for the rest of their lives with the way technology is right now. I don't think that that's appropriate. And the second thing that I brought up is how many of your constitutional rights require you getting a license just to observe a basic right. I've never I guess I have a problem with that. I think there are some public safety concerns that could maybe make that necessary, but in this particular case, I just think that it's a weak argument, and some small town in Iowa got away with doing this. That might be one thing, but I think if Rochester tries to do it, we're going to get sued, and then one of two things are going to happen. We're either going to give it up right there, or we're going to spend lots of money and lose. And that's what's kind of disgusting about it. I brought up what happens if somebody's out panhandling on Saturday. They're supposed to be able to go and get their license. There's no one working on Saturday. As far as I'm concerned, we've just violated the Constitution at that point. So good ideas and enforcing the laws we have are what we need to do. Doing things that overtly violate the Constitution is not something I'm really particularly in favor of doing. Finally, we had the issue of Washington Village, the second building, come up. I am a strong supporter of workforce and affordable housing. I am also a strong opponent of concentrations of low-income housing, such that creates concentrations of poverty, essentially creating ghettos. And I think that's the real concern in this area, and that's what I just can't get away from, is that Building 1 was proposed to be that was a private building, but it's 100% subsidized right now. The next door neighbors is a place called Northgate Plaza that has 150 units. Initially it was for senior housing. Now they're basically letting anyone and everyone in there, and the issue is it'll become 100% subsidized low-income housing as well. And what would you do in between two massive 100% subsidized projects? Another 100% subsidized project? Not on my watch. I just take exception with that. I believe in mixed-use communities. This is a very good location for a project. It's walkable, it can be transit-oriented. But I had a lot of questions whether that was in the best interest of the community, and it's a lot of spare dollars we're going to go with this. And I have concerns about that. I have a lot of concerns about the first building that was built. I think it's an absolute disgrace that we put the taxpayer money would be going in building like that. It's vinyl side level prefab concrete. Basically, it's something that doesn't neighborhood. And it's really a nicely constructed building, not an attractive building. I think it's neighborhoods. We have a Cascade Creek project forward, which is the model of affordable housing. Since we've been able to meet that standard, I want to make it very clear that I'm not to go below that standard in the future. Our citizens deserve much better than that. I will probably be posting the highlights of that particular discussion. There was an interest into that discussion, and I think it just goes how much that some people
had a traditional title in the city, and